Hi everyone, welcome to Angela's Food and Wellness. I hope you are keeping well. Today we'll be making this delicious African soup. It is Egusi soup. It is very popular across Africa, especially Nigeria as well. I know we eat it a lot in Nigeria. So Egusi soup is made from melon seed. Melon is, we call it pumpkin as well at home. This is a plant, a melon plant. It is not the same as watermelon. It's probably in the same family, but it's different. So we get the melon seed from this plant, and this is the melon seed, which we also call egusi. Egusi has a lot of oil. About 40% of egusi is oil, so just to be mindful of that, it is high in oil, and but also rich about 9% potassium content and a few other minerals with lower percentage in egusi. So for that reason I don't indulge often, but it is a delicacy I enjoy once in a while. So today I will show you how one of the ways I actually make my egusi, because you can make it in a variety of ways. That's the beauty about it. But once you have the seeds in the soup, we tend to call it egusi soup, but there's so many variations of egusi soup. Sometimes it differs with the vegetable you use or the condiments, but by and large we have egusi soup once we use the seeds. So I'll show you how I make one of the ways I make mine. So if you've not yet subscribed, please do hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that you get notified once I release a new video. And also please do like and share this video. Thanks for your support, I appreciate it. So we'll be using beef for egusi soup. Beef is very nutritious. It is rich in iron, which is good to boost our bloods and energy levels, and also very rich in zinc, so it is a good source of zinc, red meat. So we'll be using some beef. I usually add about 1 or 2 beef meals to my diet in a week. So if you're not a vegetarian, beef is a good source of some essential minerals and vitamins. So we'll also be using some cow parts. Cow parts are not nutritional at all. If anything, they'll have a bit of fat, but they add a bit to the flavor of our soups, and we usually use them as well. Remember, my mom never used to use cow parts to cook growing up because she would say they add nothing to the nutritional value of the food. So next we'll be using some stockfish. Stockfish, I think, originates from Norway, but I think it's mostly consumed in Africa and Nigeria. It's very popular. Stockfish is fish that has been left out to dry in extremely cold temperature. That's how they process it. So it dries up and ends up with this mature smell that I can only liken to cheese. So stock with fish will be going in there. We have a habit of cooking our soups, our native soups, with combination of fish and cow parts and beef. So but we're used to the taste, and that's how the recipe, most of our recipes are. So we'll also be using some dried catfish. Is smoked, and I usually get these fish from the Asian shop, the stockfish and the catfish from the Asian shop. So also some melon seed, which has been blended. I get this back from home, but you can get it from the Asian shop as well. So we'll be using some melon. We would also use some crayfish, dried crayfish. Crayfish is crayfish, what the name says, dried and blended into powder, so it adds as spice, gives the soup a distinct flavor as well. So the crayfish gives the soup a distinct flavor. I don't use too much of it because one of us is allergic to crayfish, so we'll be using just a bit of crayfish, even though that one will not be eating it anyway. So next we'll use some peppers and onions and chili. So one thing I do is the more red peppers you use, the more color your soup has, and that helps you get away with using less red oil. So when you add more bell pepper, your soup comes out and gets the appearance of having used a lot of red oil, but you haven't. So it makes the soup look rich and nice to look at, but you know that you haven't added all that red oil, which I think is high in cholesterol. So we'll also be using some red oil for our soup. We'll be using spinach and kale. Back at home, we'll use vegetables like ugu, watermelon, efo, efirin, just a wide variety of vegetables we have at our disposal at home. But here it's sort of limited. Once in a while you'll find some of these vegetables in the Asian shop, but not all the time. So I tend to use kale and spinach a lot, and sometimes bitter leaf as well. So we'll be using kale and spinach today for our soup. So to start with, I would soak my stockfish in hot boiling water. I would add salt to the water just to stop the taste in the stockfish diffusing into my water, because I'm not going to cook with that water. I'm going to throw it out in the end. So I'll just soak it in seasoned hot water for maybe an hour before I start cooking. I'll do same with the catfish, smoked catfish as well. Just wash gently, and that way if there's any sand in it, it gets rid of it. Then next I would parboil my cow parts. I tend not to boil this with the beef because this need a longer cooking time. So I use pressure cooker. I actually pressure cook these and then add them to my soup later. So I'll start boiling my beef. I've diced some onion and some seasoning and salt, and place the beef in the pot, and I'll cook the beef until it is tender. Next thing I'll do is blend my onion. I separate the blending of the onion and the peppers because I need some onion to mix my egusi into a paste. So to make a paste of my egusi, I would use just the onion. So I tend to blend that separate from the peppers. Once the onion is blended, I'll pour it out and then deseed and blend my peppers and set that aside for now. Next, I'll wash and dice my kale and spinach, and then I remove the stalk in the middle of the kale vegetable. It tends to be really thick and don't cook well. It doesn't soften in the soup because I don't cook my vegetable a lot. So I remove the stalk in the kale. So next I'm going to add my blended onion, to some of it, just a little bit, enough to make a thick paste of the egusi. So I'll add that to my egusi and just mix until I get a thick pasty consistency. So this is why the onion was blended separately. I also add like a cooking spoonful of beef stock, just enough to get a paste really out of it, nothing more. You don't want it runny, you just want a thick paste. So I'll mix that together and make a paste of my egusi. So once I've mixed my egusi, I set that aside as well, and what I did was add some oil, about a cup of palm oil in my wok, and then added some blended onion and my crayfish. Sorry, I missed the clip when I did that, but that's what I did. I added all of my leftover blended onion, the crayfish, and a tablespoon of tomato puree, just to add a bit of color to it as well. So that's all I've added there now. And next, what I'm adding now is the blended pepper. So after adding the blended pepper, I put the lid over it and let it cook for about 5 minutes. So in the meantime, I've added my taking my dried fish out of the bowls, the two stockfish and the catfish, added them to the beef. I've also added the cow parts and just let everything boil together. Add a bit more water into the beef itself and let everything boil for about 3 minutes. That's just for all of these to have some seasoning taste. So the beef is tender now, and my stockfish and everything is in the same pot, tender, and I'm just going to add it to my peppers that I'm cooking in the wok. So I'm just putting all of that in now, and at this point everything is tender. So if any of these is not well cooked yet, um, it would stand out and be hard to chew. So I cook the beef separate, parboil the cow parts separate. Once they're both tender, bring them together, soak the fish as well, and then add to it so that they all are tender before it goes into the soup. Otherwise you end up with very hard beef and soft and cow parts, or vice versa. So that's my way of ensuring that the texture is all the same and tender and ready. So what I'm going to do now is start to add my egusi, the melon, and what I do is cut it in chunks like this, or lumps, and just drop them in like dumplings. So because we are trying to achieve lumpy egusi soup, we don't want egusi soup that is just all smooth. We want some lumps in it. This is how to achieve the lumps. So when you cut it into lumps like this and leave it in the pot, you want to increase your heat and just let it, you put your lid over it and then you let it boil. So now you can see the egusi is creamy in color. Once it boils, when you see that it changes to white, then you know that it has boiled, it has cooked, and it's not going to melt once you stir. That's when you will now come back and stir it, and you can break these chunks into the size you like. I don't like too big chunks that are too big, so what I do is I just stir it and break it to how I like it. So but this is how to achieve your lumps in your egusi soup. Then you can now break it to the size you want. So you definitely want to let it, put the lid over it, let it boil for a while until you see that your egusi has changed to clear white, like real paper white. The parts that are not covered by the sauce already will be white, and then you know that your egusi is ready for you to stir, and just mix it in and break the lumps to how you want the lumps. So once you've stirred your egusi in and it starts to bubble, this is the point you want to probably taste for salt, seasoning, and all of that. And if you need more, you add. And then as your egusi starts to bubble, you know that it is ready for the vegetables. So we're nearing the end of this now. It is now ready for you to add your veggies to it. So next I'm going to add my kale. I usually add the kale before the spinach because kale is a bit harder in texture compared to spinach. I'm using baby spinach, so it is soft. So I turn the heat off. I've turned the heat off now. Once I start to add my kale, the heat in the soup already would cook the vegetables, so our vegetables don't need to cook for any longer than that. So you add your vegetable into your soup, turn off your heat and immediately, and then just stir in, and your vegetable will be tender and soft at the end of you stirring that soup. So I add the kale first because it's harder than the spinach, and then I would also immediately add the spinach, so the kale gets most of that heat before your spinach. So this way you get a bit of the benefit of the vegetables. So otherwise we're just eating shaft, then every goodness in it is gone because of the heat. So this is a way around at least preserving the nutrients in your vegetables. So once this is done, I stir that in and my soup is ready. So this is how to make this delicious egusi soup. It is very nice, but like I normally say, once in a while, small portions are key. Melon seed is packed with oil. It's 40% oil really, so it is high in oil. The oil content in it is high, so I would eat egusi soup maybe through the year, maybe 4 times. So it's just about moderation as well. So egusi soup you could have with, some people actually have it with rice, but you could have it with pounded yam, with oat swallow, fufu, eba, amala, or just anyhow you like it. By itself even is good. If you want to have a dinner that's not without carbs, you can just have the soup and some of the meat. So yeah, this is how I make my egusi soup, and I hope you get to try it, and when you do, it works out. So let's know how you get on, and also please send your feedback. Let me know if there's a recipe you want me to work on. I'll try my best. And also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, we've got loads and loads of exciting recipes coming your way. Do subscribe and do hit the notification button so that you know once I release a video. Also, don't forget to share and like this video. Thank you very much for watching. Look after yourselves, and until next time, stay safe. God bless.